ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलन वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यभिमहायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो हरिष्ठनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्तिः 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 सेवेंथ मंत्र नान्तः प्रज्ञं न बहिष्प्रज्ञं नोभयतः प्रज्ञं न प्रज्ञानघनं न प्रज्ञं नाप्रज्ञम् अदृष्टमव्यवहार्यमग्राह्यमलक्षणम् अचिन्त्यमव्यपदेश्यमेकात्मप्रत्ययसारं प्रपञ्चोपशमं शान्तं शिवमद्वैतं चतुर्थं मन्यन्ते स आत्मा स विज्ञेयः. Bhashyam on page number 45. Second line. Napi pramanantara vishayatvam swarupena gavadivat atmanah nirupadikatvat gavadivat napi jātimatvam advitiyatvena samanya vishesha abhavat napi kriyavatvam pachakadivat avikriyatvat napi gunavatvam nīlādivat nirgunatvat. Shankaracharya ji is introducing this seventh mantra, in which these four padas of the Atma are revealed. And the mantra started with the negation, Nantah Prajñam, I am Atma, the I is not dreamer. And then Bahina Bahish Prajñam, I am not the waker. Na Prajñana Ghanam, well, I am not the Ghana Prajña, I am not the deep sleeper, etc., etc. And all in between. And so the whole mantra reveals the Atma, the self, by negation. So, mantra since reveals, starts with the negation, and Bhashyakara wants to give a reason why it is like this. When if you want to talk about the nature of something, you say in words that this is a given thing is like this. You never say a given thing is not like this. So, in order to show the reality of Atma, what is the nature of Atma? It should be said Atma is like this, this, this. But instead, Atma is not this, Atma is not this, etc. So, Bhashyakara gives reason for all this. So, this the first state of Atma, Chatushpat Atma, 4 quarters. Since Atma is Chatushpat, 4 quarters. The first quarter is this waking state, And the waking state, what obtains in waking state? The waker, the waking world. The self identified with the entire world, cosmos, physical world, and waking experiences. That's what obtains in the waking state, right? That's how it has been said. So, the self which is basically identified with the entire physical world is Virāt. The self identified with the given body, which is of course a part of physical world, but due to ignorance, same self says, no, I am this. That's waker. And then there is a waking experiences. So this is the first part, first quarter of the Ātman. And then second quarter will be the dreamer, the dream world, the self identified with the entire dream world and dream experiences, which is called Taijasa and Hiranyagarbha, identified with the entire subtle dream world, means the entire subtle world. For a dreamer, there are dream experiences. Of course, it is subtle, because it is all made up of the subtle from the mind. So it is subtle world, vasanas, which are born of experience, etc. Anyway, so that is second pada. And the third pada, of course, is this unmanifest, right? The sleeper and deep sleeper, entire unmanifest world. The self-identified with the entire unmanifest world means the self-identified with the Maya, that is Ishvara. And the deep sleeper who has an experience of ignorance, etc., that's a Prājña. So deep sleep experience of ignorance, no specific experience, we can say experience of no particular experience. So that deep sleeper, this experience of a sleep, ignorance, etc., and entire unmanifest world, and the self identified with the entire unmanifest world, Ishvara. So like Prājña and Ishvara, in short, that's a third pada. Self-identified with the physical world, self-identified with the subtle world, subtle cosmos, identified with the unmanifest. So three padas have been said. And then the fourth pada should be now something else, fourth state of experience, etc., like samadhi, etc. But instead of that, Upanishad describes with a negation, the Turiya, the fourth. Means it is not really the fourth, right? It is really not the fourth. And you can call it fourth because distinct from the three. But basically all these three are one. O-N-E, O capital. All three are one alone. And that's we want to indicate. So that the Turiya is none other than, well, appear as these three. All the three are mithyā, and therefore we are negating, etc. Ātma is basically distinct from all the three, present in all the three, immanent in all the three, pervades entirely in all the three, entirely. Nothing is outside that Turiya. All exist in Turiya. They are evident in Turiya. Their existence is evident in Turiya. And therefore, basically, Turiya is the reality. All these three are mithyā, and therefore they are negated. So the question was raised by a Purvapakshi that if you are negating Vishwa and Virāt, you are negating the Taijasa and Hiranyagarbha, you are negating even Ishvara, right, third state, and Prājña, means everything is negated, entire world is negated. And here a waker and a dreamer and deep sleeper is negated. All waking experience is negated, everything is negated. Therefore there should be shunyam. And so we said no. We are negating because they are subject to negation. At the same time, we talk about them because they are states of experiences. And therefore, if they are experienced, we cannot call them non-existent. But at the same time, they are not real. Their existence belongs to the Turiya. In fact, all the three are one when we are saying. Means Turiya pervades all the three. And Turiya basically proves their existence. Well, Turiya proves, they are objects of knowledge, evident through Turiya. So we are negating because they are subject to negation, they are mithyā. And they are also, none of them in this world, physical, subtle, unmanifest, none of them can have a satyatva. Easiness cannot be there with them forever. No. Even physical world, physical body, no. Ease will remain forever with anything. Physical body is tomorrow, is day after tomorrow, is day after, then tomorrow, is in future, is no. Physical world, always it is associated with the ease. No. Therefore, right now their easiness belongs to something else. Ādavante cha yannasti, it is going to come. Ādavante cha yannasti vartamanepi tattatha. Which was not there to begin with, which was not there previously, which will not be there in the future. Therefore, right now also, they are really not there. Their existence is just confined to the experience. Science has proved it, so we have not to worry about. Right now you experience many things, and that a given thing's existence is just belong to that experience. The sunrise is there, yes, the existence of sunrise just belongs to the experience. There is really no sunrise. No sunrise. If you analyze the experience, you find it altogether a different reality, a contradictory reality. And therefore, so the physical world appears real, physical body appears real. But if it is real, our condition is the easiness should be there all along, at any time. Easiness was not there earlier, in the past. Right now, in the future, it will not be there. So therefore, right now, easiness is there in the body, in your experience. Well, it belongs to something else, like you experience pot, etc. The easiness really belongs to the clay, etc. Like that. And therefore, it is subject to negation. It should be negated. But why should you negate? Let it be like that. No, because you say you are physical body. You never say you are Turiya. You say I am a physical body. I am a waker. And my waking experiences are real. And not that, only that, you struggle. That is samsara. All struggle when you say I am a waker. You cannot accept yourself as you are now in a waking state. You just can't accept. That's how the whole process as a waker is becoming. You want to become something other than what you are now. That shows a non-acceptance. That is called bondage. Bondage is something which you don't want to be there, but which you cannot negate, for which you cannot do anything. That's called bondage. And so you take yourself to be a waker and struggle. That's how waking state is a struggle for the entire humanity. Entire humanity. Only in this humanity, only the happy person in this world is one who is content. Content, not just a mental state, a created condition. No. Centered on I, there is a satisfaction. Because whatever you become, you all the time keep becoming. You cannot gain the freedom from becoming by becoming. And therefore, this is samsara. Śāstra wants that you better know yourself. This is just a one state of experience, and that is due to identifying with the body. It's a state of experience. It's your status. It's your status. And accept it as a status, not as a reality. Your reality is something different. Therefore, negation. Same way dreamer. Same way deep sleeper, etc. And fortunately, I need not have to negate them. They themselves negate each other. And therefore, they are not real. Only they are subject to negation. then even in a waking state, it doesn't remain same. It constantly changes. Constantly changes. Like right now you are a waker. Before 10 years also you were a waker, right? You had a waking experiences. And now further also in future you will have it. But that waker will be different. Yeah, because identified with the physical body. Physical body undergoes change. So before 10 years as a waker you said, well, I'm of this, I'm a mid-age person, etc. Or even before another 20 years, well, you said I'm a young person. Now you don't say. You don't say that. So, what is mithyā is basically even in a waking state, etc., any state, as a waker, etc., you never remain the same. And therefore, if you never remain the same, the previous state is gone. Therefore, that is not reality. And therefore, that all belongs to the names and forms. That is their nature. That is their nature. They do not have their own existence. Any name form cannot keep ease with it forever. And not only that, they are subject to negation because they will not be there in the future. They were not there in the past. And they constantly undergoes a change, etc., etc. And therefore, identifying with a given name and form, either at the level of samashti or at the level of a vyashti, waker or the Virāt, are mithya. That's not reality. Reality is the self which pervades, which lends existence to the entire cosmos, including the one's physical body, because of which they shine, because of which they become object of knowledge, because of which because of which their existence is proven. Well, therefore, the self identified with that, they are simply statuses, and we have to negate it. And so, that is negated. Dreamer and the dream world, etc., all is negated, we know. And therefore, Turiya is not the fourth, really speaking. Only we say Turiya, Chaturiya, fourth, is to indicate that the Ātma is of a distinct nature. It is just a adhiṣṭhāna of all the three states, and it doesn't undergo a change. It is not subject to negation. It is limitless. Identifying with a given name and form, well, one experiences limitless, etc. Limitations. Well, so this is to indicate the distinct nature of the Turiya from the other three. Well, we call it as a Turiya or a Chaturiya, the fourth. Really speaking, all these three are one. But one is really distinct from all the three in terms of nature. And that is the Purushartha, which I will be talking to you later. In the introduction of the seventh mantra, Acharya himself says that. Anyway, okay. So therefore, all the three. What is the connection between all the three and this fourth? Well, all the three are Adhyāropa. Mithya means they are Adhyāropa. They are just superimposition upon this adhiṣṭhāna. Right? Oh, therefore, then if Adhyāropa, adhiṣṭhāna sambandha is there, then definitely we can reveal it through the words. Because the conditions basically, which reveal this through, the conditions by which words have access to reveal an object. In those, there are 5 conditions. One is basically a well-knownness. A given word and a given object is well known. Their connection is well known. Like seeing me, this particular body, you say Muktatma. So this is how it is well known. And you have learned that this particular type of body, this particular type of person is Muktatma. So that's a Rudi. So immediately the word Muktatma reveals a given person. So that's one of the conditions. Second is a object has certain gunas, attributes. Then words can definitely have an access. There will be a verbal function. Shabda pravrutti will be there. Because you experience you experience those attributes in an object. You experience the object, you experience the attributes of the object. And as you see, Well, you use a particular word which reveals that guṇa. So you can reveal an object through guṇa. You can reveal an object which is connected to some kriyā, action, driver, etc., right, gardener. So these words are there which reveal a particular person, object, through action. So Shabda Pravritti Nimittas are there. Nimitta means these conditions. And then, and you see in a given species there are many members. Any species has a many members. In that species, in that particular species, well, you will have a something common. That's how you say this particular is a one species. Means you are seeing something common in them. It's called jāti, which is universal in a particular species. Like a human being has a particular jāti. That's how you say you are human being, I am human being, many members. But what is common is a humanness. Anyway, so words can have access where there is a jāti also. And words can have a access, so like that. And, rudi and jāti and kriyā and guṇa and, so etc. Anyway, so these are all, Shabda Pravritti Nimittas are there. Brahman is devoid of all this, and therefore Brahman cannot be revealed directly by a specific word. Just as word Muktātma reveals a particular person, like that word the Ātma, which is Brahman, is revealed directly by a particular word. No. Okay, that's fine. Therefore you are negating. Okay, we understood. But then, when you say that there is Adhyāropa, the adhiṣṭhāna sambandha is there. So, when you are negating, especially anything which you experience and you negate it, there must be adhiṣṭhānam for that. Yeah, you negate pot. Therefore, definitely you are revealing clay there. So, you are negating a particular, you are negating, let's say, a ring, etc. Definitely you want to reveal what is truth behind, and that is gold, etc. Therefore, no mithyā thing can be there without adhiṣṭhāna, because it is not shunyam. You experiences, right? And which doesn't have its own existence. Therefore, it is mithyā, you say. Then something else is there, right there, which lends existence. And therefore, that is adhiṣṭhānam. So, therefore, Adhyāropa, adhiṣṭhāna sambandha is there. Then one of the condition is that we already said driver, etc. So, word can definitely reveal a given thing which has a certain sambandha, right? And therefore, you also now say they are negated because they are mithyā and they have adhiṣṭhānam, etc. So, there is a sambandha, and therefore, you need not negate like this. Reveal the Brahman through connections. So, basically, vidhimukhena, etc. Then we said, well, that is not correct, because na pranadi vikalpasya avastutvat shuktikadishu iva rajatadehe nahi sad asatoho sambandha shabda pravritti nimittabhak avastutvat. Basically, so he says pranadi. All this. Pranadi means Ishwaradi. Ishvara, Prājña, and Taijasa, Hiranyagarbha, Virāt and Vishwa, etc. All this. Vikalpasya. They are all vikalpa. Various adhyāropas. Right? So all these vikalpas, avastutvat, they are really not there. They are mithyā basically. So pranadi vikalpasya asatvat. So the entire universe beginning with this prana, etc., name and form, which I already told you, they are asatvat. They are really not there. They are just there in experiences, but they are really not there. They don't have their reality at all. The entire universe, well, asatvat mean mithyā. So, like what? Shuktikadishu iva rajatadehe, like the silver superimposed upon the shell. Rajatadehe. And so, rajatadehe is a, heto panchami. So, and what is, so rajatadehe asatvat. So, shuktikadishu rajatadehe asatvat. Shuktika is adhiṣṭhānam, but rajatadehe, you superimpose the rajata, silver, shell silver, I mean. So, silver you superimpose, that is asatvat. Therefore, well, definitely, nahi sadasatoho sambandha asti. Sadasat. So, a entity which is real and unreal, there cannot be a real sambandha. So, if an entity is unreal, then the sambandha with the adhiṣṭhāna which is real also is unreal. Right? And what is the relationship between, as we say all the time, pot and clay? Or this is this, the rope and snake. What is the relationship? No relationship. Because one is mithyā. The sambandhi is mithyā, therefore sambandha is also mithyā. So Shabda Pravritti Nimitta Bhag na bhavati. And therefore, well, Shabda Pravritti Nimitta Bhag, Nimittam Bhajate, I said you. So that relationship cannot enjoy the status of being revealed by one of the conditions. And what is that condition? Sambandha. Because there is no sambandha. It's a mithyā sambandha. Anyway. Then Bhashyakara wants to talk about other conditions. Bhashyakara thought, let me talk about other conditions also. And let me tell that Brahman is not, basically cannot be revealed by any other four conditions by which if words in any language, words will never have access to reveal Brahman. And therefore, vidhimukhena. Therefore, directly it cannot be revealed. And therefore, we will have to employ another method. And that method is in nishedhamukhena, by negation. And when we are negating, definitely we have already committed a error of taking the body, etc., as myself, the real, etc. And therefore, already error is there due to self-ignorance. And therefore, it deserves to be negated. It deserves to be negated. Just because it is mithyā, we have to negate? No. Just because it is mithyā, we have to negate? Need not be. If you take mithyā thing as a real, what is really an appearance, you take it as a real. One real is not understood, appearance is going to be taken as a real. That's how it is. And therefore, the real, the self, the Turiya is not understood. There is a self-ignorance which is beginningless. And therefore, this error also is a beginningless. And therefore, that due to that error, there is a samsara, bondage. There is all sense of limitations and other things, subject to time, birth, and subject to time and place, and subject to all attributes, subject to attributes, and therefore, and due to that, one feels all the time a wanting being, lacking being, murmuring being, complaining being, subject to fear, subject to all sorts of problems, all which we call sorrow, in general, sorrow, centered on I, not knowing who am I. And therefore, it's Shastra's pravritti is to negate them and make you free, make you recognize who you are in reality. You are a free self. And knowing that, you'll enjoy the freedom in life. So, Bhashyakara wants to negate other four conditions for Brahman. Napi pramanantar vishayatvam sarupena gavadivat Ātmanah nirupadikatvat. And that we discuss, of course, but I'm just, because we are meeting after some time, and therefore. So, pramanantar vishayatvat. Pramanantara here is pratyaksha, basically, because this is, right now we are operating a shabda pramana, right, to know Atma. Therefore, pramanantara. So, here pratyaksha, etc. So, napi pramanantara vishayatvat. So, pramanantara means pratyaksha vishayatvat. Swarupena. By itself, Brahman is not available for pratyaksha. Brahman is not available for sensory perception. Brahman cannot be objectified. And therefore, when you say a rudhi is negated, means a well-knownness is negated, because you have told this particular person, are you seeing? Yeah, seeing. Are you seeing that Swami? Yeah. His name is Muktatma. Okay. So, because you are able to objectify the person, object, and therefore you name it once, only once for that person, hopefully. Then he will know. Now this, hopefully. For a person like me, there are issues, okay? But I have issues with this all the time. I meet and I say hi, hello, howdy, everything, but then ultimately, and that person realizes from my eyes that Swami is really searching in his memory. then what is my name, etc. But anyway, so pratyaksha vishaya, napi pratyaksha vishayatvat. Brahman is not available for sensory perception. Swarupena, by itself. Gavadivat, unlike cow, buffalo, we are able to name them cow, buffalo, because we are objectifying, sense available for sense perception. Brahman is not. Therefore, Drudi will not work. Well-knownness between word and its meaning, word and the object. No, you cannot objectify at all. What? Ātman. So nirupadikatvat. Nirupadikatvat means indriya agocharatvat. It is not a vishaya for indriya. Then jati. Well, jati will be, jati is this common factor comes only when there are many. Then there is a commonness. Otherwise, where is commonness? Then this is Advitiyam Brahma. There cannot be more than one limitless. Right? In fact, there is nothing other than limitless consciousness. Nothing else. Yeah. There is no question of one more than one. Therefore, basically, so it is, this, jati cannot be possible. Many members are there, and then you say, well, what is common is called jāti, the species. Many cows are there, cowness is a jāti. And therefore, that is not there. So Bhashyakara says here, Gavadivat napi jati matvam. There are many cows, and in that, cowness is a jati. Like that, there are many Brahmans, and what is common is a Brahmanness. That is. So, Advitiyatvena. Advitiyatvena samanya vishesha abhavat. So, Advitiyatvena means beginning not, there is Advitiyatvena. So there is no other thing at all. Samanya Vishesha Bhavat. So there are no particular members, the particular person, like that there is a particular Brahman, many Brahmans, each one is called particular, and in that what is common is a Samanya. That is not possible, Advitiyam. Therefore Samanya Vishesha Abhavat. And Napi Kriyavatvam Pachakadivat, and therefore Avikriyatvat. So, Pachakadivat, like a cook, right? Is that person is associated with a particular function, kriyā, and that is cooking, etc. And therefore, we can definitely we can reveal by word use the word cook, and definitely a particular person is revealed through his function. Here it is not. Why? Because one without second. So in one without second, like a space, what is the functioning of the space? Generally, any function, action, involves a movement. Even I tell you, even in the mind, there is a movement. We say the function of the mind, pravritti of the mind. What? Well, generate thoughts, movement. Subtle, but it is. Pranas, movement. Body, movement. Organ of action, movement. Sense organ, going away or etc. Some movement is involved. And therefore, one without second, limitless. What is movement in that? Also, the movement is possible, basically, when there are parts. There is always movement in a given thing in the parts. Right now, I am there, right? But there is a movement in the part, hand, or the eyes, or even the head, etc., etc. Or sometimes even legs, while talking to other person keeps doing like that. There is movement. So, something is there in the mind, manifest mechanically. Yeah, that's called mannerism. Yeah, lot of some people keep doing like this. Some people keep doing like this, etc., etc. Or some people, keep. Swamis generally wear some type of that upper cloth. So after a few minutes, like that. What is that? Or some people keep doing the movement of hands. They are unaware of it. My point is ultimately movement is there in a given part, even in a one thing. There are no parts, it's partless whole. Parts cannot make whole. If the Brahman is the whole, therefore it doesn't have any parts. And what is subject to disintegration also, parts, etc. I don't want to go, but my point is kriyā, avikriyatvat, free from any action, movement. So napi kriyavatvam pachakadivat, like the cook, etc. Therefore, how will you, what is the word which reveals that? You may have a set of words which reveal a given thing in the world, which is associated with a particular function, right? But Brahman is basically free from any action. Therefore, all those words which denote, which reveal a given thing through action are all useless. Cannot. So like that. So that condition also will not work. Napi gunavatvam niladivat. So napi gunavatvam. That doesn't have any guna. A thing can be revealed in terms of its attributes, and you bring a red rose or give me that yellow flower, whatever. So you basically reveal a object through even its attributes. Here you cannot do anything because it doesn't have nirgunatvat. See, Bhashakara says that is how it is limitless. A thing which is limitless should be free from any attributes. Then only it is limitless. Any attribute is there, to that extent it is limited. More the attributes, more the limitations. Less the attributes, more pervasive a thing. Between Akasha and Prithvi, Akasha is basically having one attribute, guṇa, called Shabda, etc. Whereas Prithvi, etc., is 5, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Therefore, Prithvi is less pervasive, limited compared to the Akasha. Akasha accommodates the Prithvi. Prithvi doesn't accommodate Akasha. So, Brahman being even a cause of Akasha, which has a one guna only, Brahman being cause of even this, is free from all the attributes. So, anyway. So, nirgunatvat, and therefore ataha, abhidhanena, na nirdesham arhati, abhidhanena, shabdena. Well, through that verbal expression, through the words, nirdesham na arhati, Brahman is not an, cannot be revealed, nirdesha, cannot be revealed by the word, is not eligible candidate, etc. Then comes a very interesting question by Purvaksha. Look at the question. In that second paragraph, page 45 only, Shashavishanadi samatvat, Purvakshi says, nirarthakatvam tarhi, atmatva avagame turiyasya anatma trishna vyavrutti hetutvat, shuktika avagamaha iva rujata trishnayaha, nahi turiyasya atmatva avagame sati, avidya trishnadi doshanam sambhavah asti. Nacha turiyasya atmatva anavagame karanam asti. Sarvopanishadam tadarthena upakshayat. Tattvamasi ayam atma brahma. Tat satyam sa atma. Yat sakshad aparokshad brahma. Sabahya bhyantaro hyajah. Atma eva idam sarvam. Ityadina. So, Purvaksha raises another question. It is a similar question as he raised before. Right? Previously he said, if you are going to reveal the Atma by Nishedha, and that Nishedha means a Nishedha of the entire universe which is in form of a Virāt and Vishwa and everything, well then ultimately it is going to be a Shunyam. And there he gave an example, Shashavishana. He gave example of a horn of a rabbit, which is non-existent. Same way your Brahman is like Shashavishana, because Shunyam. So anyway, so that was an earlier question. And we said, well, we are not saying it is Shunya, we already answered. But shunyam, well, even if you say shunyam, that shunyam is our mithya, basically. So shunyam cannot be adhiṣṭhānam of mithya. Real shunyam. Buddhas say the world is shunyam and its basis also is shunyam. Sarvam shunyam shunyam. Sarvam shunyam shunyam doesn't mean, well, all that you perceive here, the jagat is shunyam. No. Even its adhara, its adhiṣṭhāna, whatever you say, its basis also is shunyam. We say all that you perceive definitely has an existence in that experience. That's how you perceive. The perception is experience. Therefore, definitely it doesn't have its own existence, but it derives an existence from its basis. And therefore, anything which is mithya definitely has a adhiṣṭhānam, which is ever there. And if that lends existence to everything, including space, time, physical world, everything, then that thing, the adhiṣṭhānam, must be of the nature of existence, because it lends existence to everything. And it reveals everything, therefore that thing must be of the nature of revelation, self-revealing. Therefore it reveals itself and it reveals entire world. It is, and it proves existence of everything also. It encompasses everything and lends existence to everything, every name and form. And therefore basically the adhiṣṭhānam is satyam, not shunyam. And therefore we said, we argued there and said, even though we are negating everything, all the three padas, by that the entire universe, the waking experience, dream experience, the waker, etc., all that, and even the Ishvara, etc., also we are negating. But we are that way, we are saying all that mithya, those mithya things have a adhiṣṭhānam in Turiya. That is satyam. That cannot be negated because that lends existence to everything. That cannot be proved, that cannot be negated. World is subject to negation, but that is not available for negation. And therefore, what is self-revealing cannot be negated. What is self-revealing? How will you negate it? What is revealed can be negated. And it is subject to negation. The world, I told you, the body and I. Let's keep it aside right now because it will. Anyway, so this is not shunyam. Okay. Now he says, okay, yeah, Brahman is existent, Turiya is existent, lends existence to everything, that is satyam, everything. And it means it is satyam, fine, and it is free from attributes. It is not an object of a sensory perception, so therefore Shabda Pravritti Nimitta is not there. It doesn't have any action, it doesn't have attributes. Well, we understood everything. Means it is not an karta, etc. And fine, it is not describable directly by the words, cannot be revealed directly by the words. We understood. But one thing is there, if it is not well known by any word in the language, if it doesn't have any attributes so that we can reveal by the words, certain words, group of words, if it doesn't have any action, so that we can reveal another set of words which denote action, etc., or which reveal an object through action, all this. So therefore ultimately, even though your Brahman, we accept, okay, it is satyam and it is adhiṣṭhānam, mithya cannot be without this satyavastu, etc., everything fine. But one thing is sure, practically your Brahman is not available for any transaction, because not available for the words. The words itself is a transaction. Vyavharastu shabda prayogaha. We cannot use any word for that because it cannot be revealed. And therefore it is vyavhar agochar. In fact, that is what it is going to come, avyavaryam. So definitely, previously he argued that your Brahman is shunyam, non-existent. And we said, no. Everything is negated, it is mithya, and therefore it should have an existence. It should have a basis, adhiṣṭhānam, which is satyam, which lends existence to the mithya world, everything. Anyway, so he said, okay, that's fine. But it is not have any, we cannot bring it to any transaction. It doesn't have a guṇa, it doesn't have a kriyā, it doesn't have any jāti. And it is not well known also through a particular word, etc., all that. Therefore, it is not available for any vyavhara. And then if it is not available for Vyavahara, it doesn't have any benefit. What you cannot bring into Vyavahara, there is no prayojana. That's for sure. Like a pot has a prayojana, clay doesn't have any prayojana. Pot has a prayojana. Pot serves purpose. But pot is, we can bring it into Vyavahara, right? We can buy with, we can use the word pot, somebody makes a pot. All this is, and therefore it is available for Vyavahara because it serves a purpose. Now your Brahman is nishprayojana, nirarthakatvam. His Bhashakara says this, Purvapakshi says, but Bhashakara is raised, and so any Vyavahara is not possible. Vyavahara is of two types, adana pradana. Either you give up or you take, right? Pot. Either you give up, old pot, you throw away, or you buy a new pot, you bring in. So therefore, Dhanam and Adanam and Pradhanam, etc. All the transaction in the form of, taking or giving up. And so, if it is not available for that, then it is absolutely useless. Absolutely useless. And so, Brahman is basically, really speaking, and that is true. Brahman is useless. Like in example, clay is useless. You cannot fill up a drop in a clay, a pot. A drop of water in a clay. You have to, when you make a certain form, only then is use. Clay itself doesn't have a use. That's true. Same way your Brahman lends existence to all names and forms, and all are mithyā, and you want to negate and reveal Turiya and all that. But your Brahman is Śāstra. Again, same example he says. Śāstra. Like a horn of a rabbit. You cannot buy it. You cannot give it away. Pravritti, nivritti, nothing you can do with. So the same your Brahman is also is like this. Like Śāstra, nirarthakam. So Śāstra samatvat. So Śāstra Vishanam is a horn. Shasha means this rabbit. So earlier he said, he thought it is, this Turiya is a non-existent, shunyam. Now he says, okay, it exists, adhiṣṭhānam and all that, but still it is useless. That's the difference between that. He used the same example. So Bhashakara's example. So Śāstra is a non-existent earlier. Now Śāstra means purposeless. Like Śāstra means purposeless. And Acharya says, well, that is the blessing, in fact. Brahman is not available for any Vyavahara. It's a blessing actually. So, Vedanta of course is not going to reveal this Turiya as one of the entities which you can contact one way or the other, because it is not an object at all. If it is a given name form, you can deal with, you can transact it in form of adanam, taking, or in form of giving up. All that is possible. All that is possible with regards to objects which are within the boundaries of space and time. Things which are limited, having certain forms, certain attributes, have a certain function, there all these things are possible. But here it is not possible, because the first thing is, it is not an object at all. Anyway, therefore, basically this Brahman is not an object, not available for experience naturally. When you experience, there is some object. And so, that way it is this Turiyam is useless, that's true. But what is not available for taking or giving up means, which is basically a limitless entity. And what is not available for giving up or taking is yourself. First thing is that, before even saying limitless. First thing, only one thing is there which cannot be taken, cannot be given up, and that is I. One who gives up is all the time there. One who takes also is there. I is never given up or taken. Then it's not an object. Okay? And that I basically is ever existent, is here and now. So far as objects are concerned, they are here now, may not be later. They are now, later may not be there. All that is. Because anything other than I is basically subject to time, space, everything. So this Turiya I is a limitless consciousness, etc. So I will be seeing that. So, and that is our big benefit, which is here and now, and it is all the time here and now. If it other than I, non-I is having this space-time limitations, but I basically, which is not having a subject of, it is not subject to space-time limitations. It is limitless consciousness, which is not never an object. Everything is an object of consciousness naturally. Everything is a object of consciousness naturally. If you are aware of it, well, you have gained nishtha. If you are not aware of it, even though you are object free, everything is naturally objectified by you, you are object free. But if you are not aware of it, and if you are not alert, you are going to take any object as the subject, as yourself. And that's where the problem starts. Yeah. Problem starts when you take the object as the subject. That's the issue. You are by nature object free. Everything is objectified by you. Therefore, by common sense, you are object free consciousness. If you are object free consciousness, consciousness has no boundary. Consciousness has no dimension. If you say consciousness is a dimension, you have made it as an object to measure consciousness. Then one who measures is consciousness we are talking, and therefore consciousness cannot objectify consciousness. Anyway, my point is it is limitless consciousness, and therefore I basically, if I am limitless consciousness in terms of time and space, I am here and now. I cannot be objectified. Therefore I am here and now. And well, tomorrow also I will say I am here and now. I am here and now. And therefore, which is not subject to time, space, etc., not subject to change, not subject to old age, not subject to birth, death, everything, not subject to time. And therefore, since I am Purnam, limitless, well, and other than me, everything is mithyā, and therefore, well, therefore, I need not have to acquire anything in this life, really speaking, to discover fullness, because I am, by nature, I am fullness. By nature, I am a free self, free from the limitation of time, space, and attributes, etc. All that is there, the object of consciousness is all mithyā. And therefore, this mithyā cannot add anything into me. In fact, they exist on account of me. And therefore, world cannot improve me. I don't need improvement also. And therefore, there will be, if I know I am a Turiyam, if I know I am a Turiya, not Turiyam, if I know, then definitely Sarva Kama Nivrutti takes place. Samsara Nivrutti takes place. You wanted to become something. You wanted to become something. Any becoming involves limitation in space and time. And ultimately, you are going to be limited. Again, whatever you become, you will become in subject, in future, subject to space-time. So you will remain limited. And ultimately you want a freedom from becoming, means freedom from limitation, freedom from a wanting being. That's only possible when you discover your fullness. That's only possible when you know this Turiya. And therefore, ultimately it is negated, all these are negated to reveal this nature of oneself as full self. And so due to avidya, there was a desire, I was taking myself as a limited being, and that leads to karma also. In order to gain fullness, I am free from all this now. Since avidya has gone, no more kama, no more karma. And if a karma itself is not there, Janma Marana also is not there. And so that is, therefore, there is this knowledge that you cannot be revealed by by any words, because there are no Shabda Pravritti Nimitta. Therefore, I will not be available for any prayojana, vyavahara, etc. But it's a blessing actually. This knowledge is a blessing. It serves a greatest prayojana in this called moksha. So this is how Bhashyakara replies it, that na nirarthakatvam. When you say it is nirarthaka, etc., it's not true. In fact, it really serves a purpose. And the purpose which it serves, that knowledge, which serves knowledge of Turiya, which serves the purpose that cannot be served by any other goals, arthakama, etc. So Turiyasya atmatva avagame. So Turiyasya atmatva avagame, when Turiya is known as Atma, etc. Like that he replies, and we will see that in the next class. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.